Hello, I'm Johnny Cashflow. We've all seen the advertisements, those thetruth.com ads where they try to convince kids not to smoke. I guess they appeal to millennials with their flashy YouTube clips, horrible music, and anarchy/revolutionary/anti-authority edgy video footage. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you why it's all bullshit. Before we get into it, this is not Johnny Cashflow advocating for little Johnny to go smoke. I personally find smoking to be a disgusting habit. My mother smoked for literally 50 years and she's a mess. Smoking causes cancer, emphysema, and COPD along with numerous other ailments and negative health conditions. But that's not what this is about. This is about manipulation of ignorant millennials who are virtually incapable of critical thought and the blatant intellectual dishonesty by this group and the government. TheTruth.com's latest cringeworthy advertisement states that it's a fact smokers earn 20% less cash than non-smokers. First off, this is not a fact, and this is the main crux of this rant, as I'll go into it much further, but this is the key takeaway against this advertisement. That study only consists of 251 people in San Francisco. Let that sink in for a second for your critical thinking skills to get to work. In order to get an accurate sample size for 316 million people, according to our handy-dandy sample size calculator by Rayosoft, the survey needs to be at least 385 people to produce a result within a 5% margin of error. Thus, the sample size is not nearly large enough to accurately draw a conclusion for the entire United States. Next, let's look at where the sample was collected. Geographical area collection bias was very strong on this one. San Francisco has some of the most restrictive smoking laws in the country. So the study actually found that in San Francisco, a place with arguably the most restrictive smoking laws in the country, that if you smoke, it is more difficult for you to find a job. Furthermore, TheTruth.com's advertisement states, quote, "This means that young smokers will miss out on up to $10,000 a year." But the average age of the survey was 48 years old, and only 31% of them had college degrees, and 39% were, quote, unstably housed. Whatever that means, I'm assuming that means that they were homeless or sleeping on a friend's couch or whatever. Many of us have been there, so no judgment. There's no mention of how many of the 31% of college graduates were smokers and got jobs, nor is there any sort of metric for quality of employment. Are they counting part-time as full employment? And are they counting underemployed as employment? It just doesn't give us enough information to draw a real conclusion, despite their eagerness to do so, and then blast that out as if it's the gospel handed down from Alanis Morissette herself. But it doesn't end there. Oh no, kiddos. The advertisements go on to vilify evil big tobacco. Yes, evil big tobacco. You ever notice that whenever someone wants to vilify something, they just add the word big in front of it? Big tobacco, big oil, big energy, big box stores. Yet for some reason they think that big government is a good thing. The fact is that evil big tobacco is responsible for $15.5 billion, that's billion with a B, in federal tax revenue and $24 billion in state tax revenue. Where do you think that money goes? It goes towards funding the state children's health insurance program and these types of advertisements against them. Now, I'm going to break out the libertarian free market argument. Many of you socialists and statists may not give a damn about this atrocity of government overreach, but this is the argument nonetheless. The United States set a dangerous precedent when it passed the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act, which banned the advertisement of private tobacco companies to be able to advertise on television and radio. I know it's difficult for many of you, but try to think about this objectively. If you were to open a business, you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into creating this business. I know that most of you don't possess the mindset to understand the difficulties of opening one's own business, but as a business owner, I assure you, it's fucking exhausting. Now, you open this business. Imagine it for me, please, just humor me. Something you love and are passionate about. A clothing boutique, an electronics store, a gourmet cupcake delicatessen. You slave over this business, 20 plus hours a day, 7 days a week, for years. And then the government decides that you're no longer allowed to advertise your business. Then, not only that, the government decides to tax you at an exorbitant rate and take that tax revenue, which you worked hard to earn, and use it to create trendy advertisements against you. That's what Americans have allowed our government to do, and we don't give it a second thought. We couldn't be bothered because smoking is totes uncool, bro. So it's okay to violate these people's constitutional rights because we don't like them and they're icky. But we naively believe that when it comes to us, the government certainly won't ever infringe on our constitutional rights. The government controls every aspect of the tobacco industry to the point where individual companies hardly have any control over their product anymore. They control how the packaging is designed, the words allowed to be used on the packaging, the number of cigarettes allowed to be sold per package, for the purpose of not allowing the companies to make their product more affordable. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? They're not even allowed to attempt to make their product more affordable by selling fewer cigarettes per package. Personally, I'm of the mindset that a person should be allowed to do with their body what they choose. If a tax-paying citizen decides to smoke cigarettes after a hard day's work, then that's their choice. It all comes down to education and transparency. Everyone knows that smoking causes health issues. So why must the government then go further and try to protect people from themselves? Please show me where in Article 1, 2, or 3 it states that the government should regulate people's personal decisions, because I'm having a hard time finding that part in the Constitution. As Nick Naylor from the movie Thank You for Smoking said, quote, "Gentlemen, it's called education. It doesn't come off the side of a cigarette carton. It comes from our teachers and, more importantly, our parents. It is the job of every parent to warn their children of all the dangers of the world, including cigarettes, so that one day when they get older, they can choose for themselves." End quote. That's what America's all about, folks, the freedom of choice. But a person isn't free to make an informed decision when they're lied to, no matter how morally superior the liars believe they are. Alright folks, I'm out of here. This is Johnny Cashflow saying, till I see you next time, I gotta come up with a catchphrase to end this shit with. I edited, so fucking A, I can be taught. Later.